All right, what's up, college baseball fans? Welcome to another episode of the 11.7 podcast, weekend number 6 recap episode. And man, we got a lot to talk about. I feel like we could do a whole show on just the SEC, and I promise we won't. We will touch on all of the conferences, all the big moments and storylines from this weekend, and how it was way more entertaining than the NCAA March Madness tournament. God, that was boring to watch. So many blowouts, not enough upsets. It's not what it used to be, Dimitri. And I know we're getting old, but when we were younger, it felt like everybody in the country knew at least one player on every team or multiple players. And there were upsets every single week or every single day of March Madness, multiple a day. And it was way more thrilling to watch than some of these like 20 to 30 point blowouts. I still watched a little bit just because I care about my bracket for competitive reasons. But it was just no. You know what? If there are new listeners to the 11.7 podcast, and because your basketball team got eliminated and now you want to care about college baseball, I will guarantee that this year's NCAA baseball tournament will be 10 times more entertaining and exciting than March Madness. The NCAA baseball tournament is the NCAA's best product, hands down.
I think you're right. I remember back in the day when you were in school, it was the magical day. March Madness started. The teacher would roll out that big black, like metal wheelie thing with the big TV on it,
Yeah.
and we would do our homework, we would do our classwork, whatever, and we would watch the game. And you knew all the best players. Like I knew who players were. Nowadays, I can't even tell you who the best player in college basketball is. I'm not even kidding. I can't tell you I have no idea who it is. And it goes back to the whole thing in the WBC. They were talking about how baseball is slowly catching up and could pass basketball in terms of popularity and views, whatever, in the U.S. And I think in college baseball, we're seeing something very similar happening. Maybe not at the exact moment, but it's going to happen where baseball is going to pass college basketball. And I mean, day one of the NCAA regional, day two of the NCAA regional is the most parity, unpredictable days in college sports. Football, you know who's going to win. Basketball, it seems like you know who's going to win. And yeah, so I think it's the last pure sport we have left in collegiate athletics.
Yeah, and the guys have to stay in baseball multiple years. Of course, there's a transfer portal and they might bounce around, but for the most part, like most of these guys are staying 3 or 4 years. Basketball, a lot of one and dones. But, anyways, I don't want this to be a basketball versus baseball debate. I want all college sports to succeed, but I think you're right. It feels like college baseball popularity is going up. College basketball
Yeah,
popularity might be stagnant or slightly going down. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but
yeah. I mean, if you look in baseball, you're continuously seeing attendance records being broken. Like we'll get into it with the Auburn Texas series, but Auburn set a program record for attendance. Of course, their stadium is a little bit bigger after the renovation, so they have more seats. Um, but that's not just the case because that parking deck, if you're familiar with Plainsman Park, there's a big parking deck behind down the left field line. That was packed out. That was full. So those aren't counted attendance numbers. So it's just Auburn baseball is on the rise and college baseball is on the rise.
yeah.
Mississippi
Well, you put
State,
out the graphic. You put the graphic out that I mean, Mississippi State now holds the top 25 on campus, or was it at home, non-neutral
on
site?
campus, on
Right?
campus
Mhm.
attendance record. I'll pull
Top
the graphic up.
top 25 of all time, and honestly, the most impressive numbers on that list were some of those in the 1980s, like 1989, 14,991 people. This was before they built the palace that they play in nowadays. Um, and the like 1988 LSU at Mississippi State, 14,378. I know that they were really good back then, and they had thunder and lightning, and everybody would go in the outfield and tailgate and have grills and everything. But to have that many people at a college baseball game in the 80s was way more impressive to me than some of these records in 2023 and 2026. Although Mississippi State cares about baseball. To have every single attendance record 1 through 25 is crazy. Who do you think will be the next team that breaks this?
Wait,
Are any
what?
teams capable of breaking this?
I mean, I don't know off the top of my head the capacity at Alex Box or some of the other places, but I feel Arkansas, like the Hog Pen, like, I mean, is Mississippi State Stadium that much bigger than Arkansas?
To the naked eye, no. I've been to both. They feel about the same size, but maybe Mississippi State might have a little bit more down the lines.
No, Arkansas goes all the way down the line.
Well, Arkansas doesn't have anything in right field except for that one little
Yeah, it's
sweet
the player development center. They don't have any fans over there. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so attendance records are getting broken on a daily basis, not even weekly basis anymore. And that's good to see.
You know what's really cool? I just noticed this. April 20th, 2013 was the year we played in their regional. So that was like a month and a half before, 2 months before we played there. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But you know who's the underrated stadium that I'm like, hey, if they actually had a big crowd or big fan base, and which they do, but they don't show up, is Oklahoma State. That place should be able to fit 13,000.
I've never been there.
But it looks massive. They have seating all over the place.
Yeah, that does look massive. I wonder what their maximum occupancy is, because they also have the outfield seating too.
Oklahoma State, O'Brate, capacity. Let's see. I'm going to just pull this up so the people on YouTube can just kind of see what we're looking at while we do this, because I think it's interesting. Oh, wow. O'Brate is tiny. Total capacity expandable to up to 8,000 seats. Record attendance 8,230.
Not even close.
Baum Walker Stadium capacity 10,737 is the total capacity. Record crowd 11,103 versus LSU in April of 2011.
What is Florida's? Because Florida's new stadium, when I went, was ginormous. At least it felt giant.
Where Georgia, Florida?
Yeah, Condren.
Condren. Capacity is about 7,000, up to 10,000 if expanded.
Dang, dude. Yeah, so nobody's going to sniff these Mississippi State records.
Let's see if someone has the list. Duty Noble over 15,000, fully packed out. Charles Schwab 24,000 plus. Baum Walker 11 to 12,000. Isotope Park, New Mexico 12,215. VCU 12,100. Founders Park, South Carolina.
Not on campus though. Both of those.
Yeah, so yeah, you would have to say South Carolina is right there, 8,200.
Yeah, I don't know if I trust that list completely. Here we go. Here's a whole Wikipedia page.
Smith Ballpark, Salt Lake.
Oh yeah, Utah just opened up. Well, no, is that the old ballpark?
Salt Lake B.
Yeah, that's the old. They just opened up an on-campus one that's awesome.
Oh, there you go. Swayze, 11,400.
So Swayze is the next biggest.
I wonder what Swayze's record is. Swayze Field, Ole Miss attendance record. That's got to be close to 10K. 12,503 against Mississippi State.
What's number 25 on that Mississippi State list for attendance records?
Number 25 is 13,477.
So 1,000 more than Ole Miss's record.
Yeah, 1,000 more.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Alex Box 10,700. Baum Walker 10,700. Yeah, dude, you're not getting Haymarket 8,500. Lindsey Nelson 8,000. Why is Founders Park not on here?
I don't know. We can't be spending
Founders,
the whole
6,600, 2009. Anyways, yeah. So
we spent 10 minutes on a college baseball attendance. It's funny because like if we actually want to get down into it, like college basketball stadiums hold way more than 15,000, most of them, and if they sell out, it's in the 20 to 30,000.
yeah.
So we still got a long ways to go, but television wise, I think we're going to be getting closer and closer every year. Anyways, let's go breakdown of the show. I already mentioned that like we could do a whole episode on the SEC and like the exciting weekend series that we saw. We also need to talk about Paul Mainieri. our boy Paul he's no longer the head coach of South Carolina. Everybody saw this coming, probably, I mean, honestly, in May of last year when there was some articles that came out about him like not adopting analytics or video or player development, no TrackMan. It's like
he was again. Yeah, there was a lot of power tripping going on, a lot of boomer ball going on. Yeah, and you know what's crazy? I never saw that article until yesterday or 2 days ago. Yesterday, I
Shout
didn't
out
even know
to
that
Noah
article.
Darling. I saw he retweeted it and I was like, whoa. Noah Darling from College Baseball Central retweeted it and I was like, yeah, I missed this one too.
I missed it. I had no idea.
But yeah, we'll talk about some obvious candidates to replace him next year, and then also, like I have a list of some guys that I think will be getting phone calls, some names that you're not expecting or thinking of that fit what I think South Carolina wants to build, and they're going to spend money. They're going to go out and not miss on this next hire. They're going to force some big names to say no because dude, when we were in high school and early college, South Carolina was the pinnacle of college baseball. And it was sad to see the last few years what it had become. Like that was everybody's LSU. Like that was everybody's Tennessee. Like that's where people wanted to go play. Shoot, Bryce Harper was committed there. Like that was the place to go play college baseball. 2 national titles back to back, almost won a third in a row. Yeah, it's shocking to see if you would have told 15-year-old Ben Upton that South Carolina would be a basement dweller in the SEC for multiple years in a row. I wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, South Carolina was the LSU. It was the Mississippi State in terms of ballpark atmosphere, putting out winning teams on the field year in and year out. Arkansas, like this was from 2009, 2008, Ray Tanner days until the early 2010s. This was the standard in college baseball.
Yeah. Well, hey, while we're talking on it, let's just dive in quickly on the obvious candidates. And
Well, hold on. Before we get in there, so the listeners know, the athletic director of South Carolina now, Jeremiah Donati, became the athletic director in January of 2025, so about a year ago. He came over after 8 years at TCU, 7 or 8 years at TCU. So just keep that in mind. Athletic directors alike, they have people they know over your career when you meet people and stuff. I've talked to a couple coaches and friends about this. You build a dream team. Like whenever you have a scenario like that's my guy if I ever need to hire a baseball coach. That's my guy if I need to hire a men's soccer coach. You just meet people along the way, and when you're in AD, you kind of build a dream team, a roster, if you will, of guys that you want to hire. If you're a head coach, oh, my pitching coach at so and so, or he was the volunteer system over there. I want him to be my pitching coach one day when I get a big time head coaching job. So that's kind of how it works. So their background matters. So we can dive into it now.
Yeah, I don't even think him being at TCU for the 8 years before this matters because like I know TCU fans are upset with Kirk Saarloos right now. They're at least on social media, they're not happy with him. So I don't know if he's going to be the South Carolina Gamecocks' next head coach. Maybe he wants to make a move and they hire him, but I would leave his name off the short list here. The names everybody's saying, Kevin Schnall across the state in Conway, South Carolina. I don't think he's leaving Coastal. He's a Coastal guy through and through. He played at Coastal. He was an assistant coach for a long time, takes over last year, national runner-up. Like, why does he need to leave? There is a argument to be made that it will be a lot more money. That would be tempting.
More money, bigger budget, everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it comes down to.
The trade-off with the money and the bigger budget is he could go and not succeed for 3 years and then be looking for a job where he does not want to be the head coach of, right? Like, he's got a good thing going at Coastal, a really good thing. He's built a reputation. He's built a brand there. Players want to go and commit to Coastal Carolina, like top high school recruits. They do well in the transfer portal. And dude, he was 2 games away from winning it all last year. Like, he could do it at Coastal. Why make the risky move of going to South Carolina and taking that on? But again, money talks. If he gets a number he can't refuse, you're going to see him. That's going to be their number one choice. Hands down.
There's only 16 schools in the SEC. That is your big leagues of college baseball. Like, when you get a job in the SEC, that means you've made it to the pinnacle, to the top of your career in terms of becoming the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, whatever. That you are reaching the pinnacle of your profession. So if you have an ego, if you have a goal, you have a dream, whatever the case may be, maybe you've always wanted to become a head coach in the SEC. So who knows? But I do think Schnall should stay at Coastal. He can be the guy after Gary Gilmore, just like Ostrander at Southern Miss. Those are fringe Power 4 jobs. Like, those, you might as well consider them Power 4 jobs.
They're better than half the Power 4 jobs.
That's what I'm just saying. Explicitly,
you want to go coach
speaking.
at Southern Miss or Northwestern or Boston?
Obviously, you're going to take Southern Miss. But what I'm saying in terms of just budgets and everything, those schools are just as good, if not better, than a lot of Power 4 jobs. So you're already almost there. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what Schnall's feelings are about South Carolina. I don't know. I don't know him personally, so I have no idea. But that is like, you're coaching the flagship school in the state of South Carolina.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting.
Some other names you're going to see, like, pretty heavily involved. Cliff Godwin, a guy that, he's been at East Carolina forever. His name gets leaked. I predicted him to go to Mississippi State last year. Didn't happen, not even close. So I whiffed on that one. But he's going to be getting phone calls for this job. Here's a name that I think might be the front runner right now, other than Coach Schnall, is Nolan Cain at Texas. Because I think Nolan Cain, associate head coach under Jim Schlossnagle, been with him for a long time. Like, he might be the most ready assistant in the SEC. And there's a chance you bring Max Wiener with you if the money's good. So that's a name I think will be heavily involved in consideration. Of course, Skylar Meade from Troy, he's former pitching coach at South Carolina, really well liked over there. Players play hard for him. Dan Hefner, Dallas Baptist, can't go wrong with him. And let's see, who am I forgetting?
We've got Schnall, Godwin, Cain, Hefner, Meade, Sarloos at TCU, Will Coggin.
Sarloos, please.
Sarloos. Will Coggin, Chuck Girolamo, Dan Rosal, Monty Lee are all going to be possible names.
Here's a name, Chris Lemonis.
I think Lemonis ends up at Coastal if Schnall takes the South Carolina job. That's what I think.
Yeah, 100%, because he's from Myrtle. But Lemonis has a national championship. I think he got the short end of the stick. Obviously, Mississippi State upgraded with O'Connor, or at least immediately got better with O'Connor coming in, Lemonis getting out. But Lemonis is a good baseball coach. Like, it's an unpopular thing to say because he gets ragdolled on social media for 3 years after winning a national championship, but he did it. He brought Mississippi State their first national title in 2021.
Hey, they also rag on him saying he did not win with his player, but he still had to coach him there. He still had to keep that ship going
Yeah.
and keep the guys playing, keep the guys focused. It takes a lot more than just building a roster. Like
Right.
LSU's got probably the most talented roster in baseball. They're struggling. It takes more than just a talented roster. The head coach matters a lot. So Lemonis did what he did, and he won a national championship. So I wouldn't rag on him too much.
Yeah. All right. So here's the Ben Upton special for like 5 names that could become the next head coach of South Carolina. And we're going to have to, like, none of these guys will get hired in March. They won't get hired in April. Probably won't get hired in May. But in June, like late May, June, I think you're going to see a potential for these guys. And these are just good baseball coaches that might need a change of scenery because they're either better than where they're at or a lateral move to get over. So, first
Hold
name.
on. So the listeners know, I do not endorse this list. I do not know anything about this list. This is the Ben Upton list or wish list. I have nothing to do with this list.
I would put it as like the Ben Upton. If I was a South Carolina Gamecocks fan, I would be happy with any of these 5 names.
All right, here we go.
All right, first name, Tim Corbin. I think, look, and this name actually, I don't want to give up my source, but like this was a name from somebody in the circles of college baseball coaches that said Tim Corbin could land this job for a change of scenery, as well as like, dude, winningest coach over like the last 20 years in college baseball. It's different than Mainieri. I know he's an older guy, but he just brings the structure and they were the number 1 overall seed last year. Like he's still a winner. This year they're down a little bit, but I think getting away from Vanderbilt into a South Carolina, fresh or breath of fresh air, as well as like there's not the academic restrictions. You're going to have more money from donors. You could really get that place filled back up. So if
Can
he does,
I add to that?
go for it. Yeah.
Just for sake of conversation, discussion, whatever. Very few people thought Brian O'Connor was a possibility a month before Lemonis got fired, and maybe a couple weeks into the coaching search. Brian O'Connor had everything he needed at Virginia. Corbin got everything he needed at Vanderbilt. The benefit of South Carolina is a public school. You get way more NIL budget. You get a bigger stadium, and there's a lot of things that Tim Corbin could be like, hey, this is something I need to think about. This is something I want to do. It's not far-fetched. I don't think it's going to happen, but it is possible.
Well, he has South Carolina ties too. Like Corbin was at
Yeah.
head coach at Presbyterian for a long time, assistant at Clemson.
Clemson, sorry, not yeah.
Yeah, Clemson. But and then this would also be a way for South Carolina to hypothetically like rub it in Clemson's face because Clemson really tried to get him before they hired Coach Bakich. And that was a different time. That was 2022, 2021. But they wanted Corbin and they couldn't get Corbin because he was happy at Vanderbilt. Maybe he's not as happy anymore at Vanderbilt and needs a change of scenery. So if he does get hired, credit me first. If he doesn't get hired, pretend like you never heard that. This is all hypothetical speak. Coach number 2, Alex Sogard at Wright State. I mean, he's done everything with the littlest amount possible. Wright State out of the Horizon region, they have no money. Like that conference, Horizon League has no money. Wright State might have a little bit more money than Northern Kentucky and Youngstown State and some of those other teams in the conference, but I mean, he's doing more with less. And every year, Wright State is a 4 seed that is a threat to win multiple games in a regional. His style of play is fun. I think if you take the governor off him and let him coach with with no restrictions, he could do great things. Landon Powell, D2 national championship coach at North Greenville. He was just a South Carolina Gamecocks legend. He's a great coach for North Greenville D2. That would be quite a jump, but I know he's in with South Carolina donors. He's big in that circle and played at South Carolina. So I think that's like a very outside chance, but a possibility. Robert Woodard from Charlotte. built a great program at Charlotte for the 49ers. The reason why I want to consider him, his wife is the head softball coach at South Carolina. So, like, there is that tie-in that he's going to get a phone call possibly.
How does that? I wonder. That is a crazy dynamic. How far is Columbia from Charlotte? 2 hours?
Yeah, about now. I think actually I don't want to like it's his business. I think they have two houses and like they split it up time and time. I talked to him a little bit at ABCA. So I
That's a
think they have,
crazy dynamic. Like, you don't see each other that much.
yeah, I think they actually do see each other quite a bit. Like they travel back and forth. They have two houses, one in each city. So, but anyways, that's not our business. And another guy, Steve Beazer, Jacksonville State head coach. He First of all, they're off to a great start this year, 20-4, probably one of, if not the front runners in Conference USA this year. People forget, but he started the SEMO dynasty in the OVC. He won it 3 straight years there while I was a player in the OVC. And then he goes to Missouri and actually wins a lot of baseball games at Missouri. And they were regional teams every year. The last couple of years, they kind of fell off. But if you can win at Mizzou and build a respectable, good program there, you're going to get another shot in the SEC. And I think Steve Beazer is a name that I'm confident if Jacksonville State goes to a regional, wins the Conference USA, he's going to be a hot name on that list.
So my reaction to that, South Carolina fans are going to lose their shit. They're going to lose their mind if Alex Sogard's the next head coach, just because of the name. We know Sogard is a good coach. Carolina fans will not accept that. Donati, his reputation, he's got to splash hire this thing. He's got to nail this hire. You can't do it with him. Tim Corbin, that's a big splashy name. That can create interest and create donors coming back. That is the kind of hire that you can really make something happen. Powell, they're not going to be happy with it. Some of them are going to be happy that a former player or whatever, but you got to keep emotion out of these kind of things. You got to hire the best guy for the job rather than what could be a safe pick. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm just being very neutral here. Robert Woodard, they're not going to be happy. He hasn't won enough as Charlotte for South Carolina fans to be pumped about that hire. And then Beazer, no one knows who he is. If you're not in the college baseball community, like significantly, you don't know who he is. You're like, who is this guy? They're not going to be happy. So that's kind of part of the political side of when you're making a hire, you've got to generate interest. O'Connor revitalized. I don't know why I just messed that word up so badly. He brought energy back to Mississippi State really quickly. The moment his name was announced, it was a big shift in momentum and everything. So that's part of hiring. And South Carolina needs a big name.
So there's 2 routes South Carolina can go. They can make the big splash hire and flex the money and spend a ton of money on a head coach and say, like, we got our guy and plant their flag and say it. There's another approach of, hey, we're going to hire a lesser known guy or like a cheaper guy, a less expensive guy, and we're going to put the leftover money aside for him to use in NIL. There's also that approach. So instead of spending, $2.8 million on Tim Corbin or Kevin Schnall or somebody, you go get a Alex Sogard and you pay him $1.5 million, and then you have an extra $1.5 to $2 million to spend in NIL for him to build his team.
On his staff.
Or on his staff, right? Like, I don't think there's a wrong answer with either of those approaches, but it's definitely something to think about and something to consider here over the next few months. But I mean, shoot, South Carolina won a game today. They should have won a game yesterday. They should have won the series this weekend against Arkansas with Monty Lee as the head coach. He might just go on a run and they might just hire old Monty Lee.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe the new head coach, if Monty Lee does really well this year, I would not be surprised if Monty Lee stays on staff as like an assistant head coach or recruiting coordinator of some sort, but they also could go the route. We are tearing this thing all the way to the ground and rebuilding this thing from the ground up. No former people are going to be involved with this thing.
Yeah.
That's another route they can go. And I do think that's probably the route they're going to go because they do need to blow it up and completely start with a whole new, fresh everything.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. The only
And
the newsworthy or like I guess the story part that we should focus on here is it's starting to become kind of common for midseason firings, which never ever happened before the last couple of years.
they want to get a head start on the national search. They want to get a head start on getting feelers out, shooting some text messages, getting agents in their ears. Like they want to start it early.
I
So
know, which means college baseball is becoming way more important to these ADs. This stuff never happened like
no,
before COVID, at least
the
before the
attention is
2020
yeah.
season. Never
I
happened.
think I really wonder like this was a bad week. Like South Carolina, it wasn't like yeah, they got beat by Charlotte, but they lost by like 2 runs to Charlotte, and then they got beat by 20 whatever to Arkansas. It was like, wow, things heated up really quickly. The noise got really loud, really fast. Um,
I
so
wonder
it
how
was.
much your picture you posted of the empty bleachers that got almost 1 million views on Twitter played into this.
I want to say zero. I want to think zero, no
It's
impact.
zero. It's 0%. I promise. It's zero.
But you have to remember, public perception is a lot. When the noise gets loud, you feel like you have to make a move.
Yeah, it's a good point.
I mean,
Anyways, let's
yeah,
move.
we had nothing to do with it, but
Yeah,
the
let's
noise
move
gets
on.
louder.
Let's move on from that. It was refreshing to see the South Carolina players play harder Saturday, Sunday for Monty Lee. So it is something to keep an eye on. But we've gone 30 minutes into this episode without even talking about probably the best series we've seen in a while with Auburn, Texas. We mentioned the attendance numbers and everything, and then went down a rabbit hole. But Marciano versus Riojas Friday was spectacular. Texas had it in the bag to win, Friday road game in front of a sold out crowd. And then bases clearing, walk off, we'll call it a single with a 3-base error by Aiden Robbins. But Texas choked that game away. I didn't think they had even close to their best reliever in the game in that moment. But, I mean, I'm not the pitching wizard that Max Wiener is. But it took so Texas ended up bouncing back, winning the next 2 games, which was it was unlikely in my opinion. You lose a heartbreaker Friday on the road, you feel like Auburn comes out the next day with all the momentum and they're going to like destroy you. But Texas proves that they're a number 1, number 2 team in the country by coming back, winning Saturday, shutting Auburn down Sunday with Dylan Volantis. Another impressive start for him on Sundays. He's an automatic win on Sundays.
And he didn't even pitch good today.
Yeah, 30 pitch. I think it was a 30 pitch first inning.
Yeah, he had like 80 pitches through 4, and that's a bad Volantis day. You're in good shape on Sunday.
Right. The story, though, Auburn very bad with runners in scoring position all weekend. Couldn't capitalize on big moments. A lot of strikeouts with runners on second and third or bases loaded, weak pop-ups. It was probably frustrating for Auburn fans to watch that, but you have to remember in the back of your head that, like, okay, we easily could have won this series. We easily could have been swept in this series, but like our guys we're good enough to compete with anybody in the country, hands down. And odds are, if they play Texas again, they're not going to hit like that with runners in scoring position.
But you have to remember, Texas walked a lot of people this weekend.
Yeah.
So Auburn can't be too down and too frustrated with the runners left in scoring position. But Texas walked them. They almost soiled it Saturday night. It got really, really, really
Yeah.
sketch at the end there. Thomas Burns ended up closing it out, but they were a swing away again from something crazy happening and winning on Saturday. So I think this weekend showed me more how good Texas is rather than Auburn, because we expected Auburn to be good. And I'm really mad that I went with Auburn in my pick 'em because I picked Texas first. I'm like, if they split the first two, they're winning on Sunday. Like Texas is going to win on Sunday, and I switched it. But yeah, I think this weekend says a lot about Texas. Their pitching staff needs to figure it out though. In the bullpen, you got to limit the walks. You got to
Yeah,
limit the walks.
and that's fine. Like
Yeah,
a
Aiden
weekend
Robin.
series win on the road. I think Schloss said it best in his post game. Was just like I'm so proud of my guys because like this weekend could have slipped away from us.
And you're on the road in a hostile environment against a top 5 team, and you found a way to get it done. And you didn't play your best baseball. So, hat tip to both teams. I think both teams are the top 5 teams in the country.
Yep. Let's move to Bama sweeping Florida. Sully just looking miserable in the dugout today. Hilarious video clip you posted. I didn't catch it live, but I was watching some of that game. Florida got hurt by the free passes. Also, Tyler Fay throws a complete
I was
game
about to
no-hitter.
say timeout. The first
Yeah,
thing you said about this series was Sully. That was the first thing
yeah.
you said about this series.
My bad. My bad. Tyler Fay, complete game, shutout, no hitter, 134 pitches, 131 pitches, something like that. But that was fun. It revitalized Alabama after a tough weekend last weekend. Their fans were really into the game today. And I think the home field advantage won them the game today. Florida's bullpen looked awful. Alabama was playing loose. There was some drama with ejections, possibly an intentional hit batter with Justin LeBron. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun weekend series. I spent a lot of my time watching that series just because I wanted to see two things. Is Florida ever going to snap out of it? And two, is Alabama like a regional host contender? I got some answers.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all know how good. I mean, Kentucky's really good. They have a really good team. They lost the series at Ole Miss, but they swept Alabama last weekend at home. You're like, hey, what do we got out of Alabama? Because Florida, we didn't really see much. They played South Carolina, swept them, but they also went 1 hit through 9 innings on Friday night against South Carolina. They come in Friday night against Alabama. They got no hit through 9, so they have 1 hit in the last 18 innings on Friday nights in SEC play. That's not gonna play.
No.
And then Saturday, and then they let Justin LeBron do his thing all weekend. And then it got feisty today. You know, when you're frustrated, you're losing a series, you're about to get swept, you get frustrated. The other team's all happy, they're having a good time. Usually, things like that will happen amongst 18 to 22-year-old kids.
Yeah. It was all in like competitiveness though. I didn't think either team like crossed the line. And like
No.
Justin LeBron got hit with a breaking ball, so like I
No.
don't think that's vicious if it was intentional or not. Like I think they were just
Nope.
trying to. Yeah, I don't even think it was intentional. But yeah, I mean, it's a week to week thing in the SEC. We've known
Think about
that
it this though.
for a
Think about
long
this though.
time.
Everyone is dogging this Florida team. They look terrible this weekend. They have 2 first rounders in their weekend rotation.
Oh yeah, they're as dangerous as anybody.
So Sully needs to get a fresh breath of air. He needs to find it in himself to get this team together again, because we all know what Sully does. When the Gators look dead and out is when they come out of nowhere and just roll off 9 straight SEC wins and become a regional host. That's what Florida does. So I'm not counting them out yet. I think Sully is frustrated. I think he's frustrated. So he'll get back in the lab and figure things out.
Yeah, like his players will have no choice but to figure it out.
Yeah. So
No choice. Let's do so LSU played a series Thursday, Friday, Saturday against Oklahoma, and they lose a series at home to Oklahoma. It feels like LSU fans are not panicking yet. I think they're more just mad, right? Like they see the talent that this team has, and it just doesn't feel like a series LSU ever loses. Does that make sense? Before the weekend started, I think both you and I would agree, like, oh, this is a series. It's a get right series for LSU. They just dropped out of the D1 baseball top 25 for the first time in forever. Oklahoma comes in with the number 8 next to their name. LSU's winning this series 10 times out of 10. And no, it didn't happen.
I think the issue with LSU is just simply execution and consistency. That's all it is. Like Case and Evan, he looked incredible on Thursday. They need that from him on every Friday. Maybe he's a Thursday night guy. We'll find out. But yeah, I think Oklahoma was just a better team. LSU, and when I say better team and talent are two different things. A
Right.
team of a bunch of guys that know how to play together, they know how to execute their roles. That's a good team. A team full of talent, an all-star team, they're really talented, but maybe they're not a good team in terms of playing well, in terms of bullpen guy coming in, inheriting runners from a starter and not cashing them in. There's a lot of things that go into being a good team. LSU could be a good team later, but they have a lot of issues right now. And
Yep.
they just can't hit well. They can't put together hits. So I don't want to talk about LSU that much because it's not a big deal to me. They're struggling. It is what it is.
Right. Anything else out of the SEC you want to talk about before we jump to a different?
Out of the SEC, I think we talked about Mississippi State and the attendance stuff.
God, they smacked Vanderbilt this weekend.
Vanderbilt looks lost. So, yeah, I don't think I have much else to say in the SEC. Yeah, nothing really.
I mean, like, let me just think off the top of my head. Is there any big? I mean, Georgia looked pretty good Friday,
Yeah,
Saturday.
Georgia looks fantastic. They hit a lot of bombs. They have a lot of juice in that lineup. They got blown out today, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
They took 2 out of 3 on the road at Texas A&M. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else in the SEC.
Yeah, no big moments that I have written down. Sorry for forgetting some. Let's move over to the Big 12 because you look at the top of the standings right now through 6 conference games. And I think they're 2 very exciting teams, but 2 teams that maybe didn't get the preseason hype that other teams in the Big 12 are getting. West Virginia and UCF, both 5-1 this year in the Big 12. And I think UCF might be the most underrated team in the country.
You think so?
Yeah. I watched some of their game on Saturday, and I don't know if it's like the size, like they have a pretty big team, like size-wise, but they're all unbelievably athletic. It's like,
I'll help you out here.
yeah, help me out here.
Friday, UCF dominated TCU. They dominated. Saturday, one of their best arms, actually, Matt Saucer, Hauser, I don't remember how to say it. He struggled, and he had like a 1 earned run through like 30 innings this year. He struggled a little bit. TCU ended up winning Saturday, and then today they just blew them out. It was like 9-0, something like that. I don't remember what it was today, but they blew them out. Andrew Williamson still has one of my favorite left-handed swing in college baseball. I love his leg kick, his bat drop. I love it all. This is a good TCU team, but or UCF team, but this is not my favorite team in the Big 12 right now.
Is it West Virginia?
Nope.
Cincinnati?
Nope. But hey, speaking of Cincinnati, shout out to Quentin Coate, 18 homers on the year. He had 3 home runs on Saturday. That's the name nobody's talking about.
Like, how funny is it that he's playing Bishop ball too? Like a traditional offensive approach with Jordan Bishop of, take the extra base, hit behind runners, hit and run, steal bases, and he's just up there mashing like Mark McGwire.
Yep. But my favorite Big 12 team is the Arizona State Sun Devil. They had that was a very underrated, really good series in the Big 12, and I'm kind of mad we didn't have it on our pick'em. Arizona State went to Manhattan, play Kansas State. They took game 1. Game 2 was exciting.
No, game 1 was also exciting. I think they took the lead in the 9th.
Yeah.
Arizona State took the lead in the 9th at Kansas State. Let me look. Oh, yeah, in the 8th, sorry. But yeah, Friday they won 5-4. Very fun game to watch.
And then Saturday, Arizona State had the lead. Kansas State came back and took the lead on a D. Kennedy 480-foot I mean, that thing was torched, and he's not a big guy. He's
No.
not a big guy either, so that was really impressive. And then Arizona State hung 8 on him in the top of the ninth to retake the lead and take the series. And then today, Kansas State blew them out. So I think those are two really good teams. But I think Arizona State is extremely talented.
Arizona State, like it's one of those teams that like I still have a bitter taste in my mouth because they played that tournament. I don't know if it was Big 12 SEC, but they played the tournament in Arlington against like A&M,
They lost,
Mississippi
yeah.
State, and Tennessee, and they went 0-3 and like didn't
And
score
Louisville.
runs. And I was like, oh, am I out on Arizona State of being a threat? But since then, they win the series against TCU, wins the series at Kansas State, and then I'm pretty sure they have West Virginia at home this weekend. Let me look.
I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, they have West Virginia at home this weekend. So
ooh, that'll be really fun. But yeah, I think the Big 12 is gonna shock people this year. Kansas is playing really poorly right now, but they're a talented team too. I think they'll figure it out. They're gonna be a threat. UCF, like you talked about, big surprise. So I'm really excited about the Big 12 this year.
yeah, it's weird to see Arizona and like I'm looking at the conference standings right now. Arizona 2-4, 8-15 overall, with a 228 RPI. That was a team that I mean every college baseball media outlet had them preseason hyped up. I don't know what's going on. They lose 2 out of 3 at Utah, and then lose 2 out of 3 against Texas Tech, losing midweeks to New Mexico. Dude, Arizona, like on paper they feel talented and like feel like a threat in the postseason, but right now, like they have a lot of work to do just to be postseason eligible. So that's one note that I had on the Big 12. The other one, like, keep an eye out on Texas Tech. They feel like the forgotten, maybe older sister of the Big 12 family, like the team that used to run things in the Big 12 for multiple years in the 2010s. They started off, they got swept in Arlington against Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, and Arkansas. Since then, they are 15-5 with weekend series wins against Kansas, Arizona. They also have a midweek win against UTSA where they split and they swept Penn State. But I don't know, like Texas Tech might be turning a corner. They're at TCU next weekend, so that's a battle of. I mean, the winner of that series, I think, could be in consideration for regional host. I don't know. Let me look at TCU.
No, yeah. What are you talking about? TCU trending down big time.
No, but they're trending down because I mean they've played Arizona State and UCF, two really good teams in the Big 12. I would say my favorite to win the Big 12 is UCF. Your favorite is Arizona State. Like they've played the top two dogs. I mean
that's just our favorites, but they haven't really played the gauntlet of Kansas State, West Virginia. Like there's a lot more baseball they have to play. TCU.
I mean they have a 9-game span.
Texas Tech, whatever.
They actually have a 15-game span here towards the end of the year where it's. I'm not saying any of these series are easy, but you have Arizona, Baylor, Houston, Oklahoma State, Utah. Those 15 games, if they go 10-5, like they're going to be fine.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm really high in the Big 12 this year. I think it's extremely deep. When we're talking about a team like Arizona being in the bottom right now, with like that's a deep conference, so I'm excited for them.
Yeah. All right, let's do some ACC talk. I know we're going a little bit long, 48 minutes into this thing, and we haven't even touched on the mid-major top 25 that we just released. But for me, the ACC, I think there's 5 really good teams, and I think the rest are like pretty evenly matched. If and other than Cal and Stanford and some of them, but for me, like Florida State. Right now, if I had to put my money on one ACC team to win the national championship, it would be Florida State. They picked up a big series win at home against NC State. Miles Bailey went nuts, just hitting 500-foot homers. Mendez looked good. Like Florida State would be my team out of the ACC, but I still think there's 4 other teams that I would be comfortable seeing them in Omaha.
Yeah, I think let's talk about the Florida State NC State series a little bit.
Okay.
This weekend told me a lot about how actually good that NC State lineup is. They gave everything Wes Mendez and Trey Beard could handle this weekend. So like that's a lineup that's already ranked top 5, top 10 in the country in most categories. They gave them fits all weekend. They did not look like the two lefties that we saw in Wake Forest. So I think NC State's going to be right there with Florida State, Virginia, North Carolina at the top of the ACC. But I do think this Florida State team should be a clubhouse favorite right now.
Yeah. Georgia Tech played a series.
Oh my God, I forgot. How did I not say Georgia Tech?
Well, no, but Georgia Tech played a series at Pitt that was, I mean, they were football scores. I tweeted something.
That's the rambling wreck we know. Hit and not pitch.
No, but Pitt plays in a baseball stadium that I guess the wind blows dead out every game. There was a tweet that I put on my personal account that is it Alex Gonzalez? Hold on, I'm forgetting his name. Too many names in college baseball, but I'm sorry, Alex Hernandez. That's what I'm thinking of. He got jammed, like jam toast, knuckles just broken inside, and he flicks it out to right field.
I saw that. I saw that, dude. That was so fake.
And I'm like, dude, that's AI, right? And I look and I went back on the stream, I rewind it, and like, no, it happened in real life. I could not believe that ball left the infield, let alone left the ballpark. So, yeah, I mean, they were just both teams crooked number almost every inning. Georgia Tech ended up winning the series, but like Pitt's offense is legit, and like they didn't get a whole lot of offense out of Lorenzo Carrier.
No.
Like there's more in the tank there for Pitt's offense. In fact, I meant to, before the show, debrief myself on Pitt. They really haven't played anybody. Like Georgia Tech was their first real opponent.
Pitt is the exact same as Mizzou in the SEC. They're going to get fit. They're going to be better than they have in the past, but they haven't played anybody, and the hype needs to be put on pause for a little bit.
Well, they get Kent State midweek, and then they go at Louisville.
Yeah. But you know what the biggest surprise of the ACC was this weekend? Clemson getting swept at Notre Dame.
Well, I think that says more about Notre Dame, to be honest. But I'll let you finish your point, but I do want to make a case for Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah. I think it's about – I mean, you have to be good to sweep Clemson. You have to be really good. So I think that says a lot about Notre Dame. Jack Radel. What's his name, Radel?
Rydell, I think. Rydell,
whatever. So he shoved on Friday. Not like shoved to his standard, but he pitched really well. He battled. And Clemson's got a lot to figure out because those fans are hungry. They are hungry for Omaha. And when you get swept like this, the air in the balloon gets taken out real quick.
It feels like Clemson just has like offensive struggles through the roof recently. I didn't watch much of this series. In fact, one of the games wasn't.
No, what do you mean? You didn't watch much? Not a single game was broadcasted.
I thought I saw a game. Did I not flip to that game on Friday?
No, Friday, maybe. I don't think. No, there was no broadcast.
I was flipping through a lot of games Friday. I'm pretty sure they were on my TV, but
I'll tell you right now.
You know, between like all the games I watch on the weekend plus scrolling clips on Twitter,
Friday was on. Saturday, Sunday were not broadcasted.
Okay. I was like, dude, maybe I didn't, but I was like, I swear I was flipping through that game. Yeah, I mean, Notre Dame not broadcasting an ACC game is crazy. I hope they have a good excuse because in 2026, if you're a Power 4 program, every game has to be streamed. Anyways, yeah, I mean, Clemson not off to the best start in ACC play. Things do get a little, I would say a little easier, but not really. I mean, they have Miami at home and then at Stanford. I don't think they're going to sweep either one of those series, but maybe they do. North Carolina, Virginia after that, Louisville, Boston College, Florida State, Virginia Tech. Yeah, Clemson needs to figure it out. Plain and simple. They need to figure out the offense. That Notre Dame series is not a series that you can get swept.
Don't get swept on the road.
Win your series at home.
Yep, that's the recipe.
And they are 0-2 in that recipe. They did not win their series at home against Georgia Tech, and they got swept on the road. So,
offensively, they're going to need a hit if they want to compete in the ACC. It's the offensive league this year.
What if Clemson just doesn't make a regional this year? How crazy would that be?
It would be pretty crazy. What else on the ACC? Anything else?
I have nothing else written down, but I do want to go back. I'm scrolling back to the conference standings just to see if there's anything that sparks my memory. Dude, how about Cal? 0-6 in the ACC after I was hyping them up. Because they went at UC Irvine and won that series. They swept Sacramento State the week after Sac State won the series at LSU, and then they swept San Diego in a 4-game series. I'm like, dude, that's 3 really good mid-major teams they just pounded. They go on and get swept by North Carolina and then swept at Boston College this weekend. All the games against Boston College were close, but just gotta win one. Got to.
Yeah, it's I'm starting to be concerned about the West Coast this year. Let's get into the Big West right now.
Yeah, okay. Let's go Big West, because either the Big West is either really, really good top to bottom or not as good as maybe we have been hyping them up to be. Is that fair to say?
They're definitely not a 3-bid Big West right now.
Dude, I don't know. Maybe they are.
How is that going to happen? If they're going to all beat up on each other like this, it's just not going to happen. Santa Barbara has to hold it up. Cal Poly might be the one to hold this conference up. They're 6-0. They haven't really played anybody tough yet.
Dimitri, when you say 3-bid league, if we assume, I know Santa Barbara just lost back-to-back weekend series, but they're still at 25 in the RPI.
It's going to continue to go down, though.
If they keep winning games, they'll be fine. Like,
what makes you think they're going to win games if they've lost to 2 of the bottom teams?
I think they're good. But like a 3-bid league is not crazy if you think like Cal Poly, Santa Barbara, and then they get a conference tournament champion in. Like, it's not that crazy to say.
No, but Santa Barbara has 0 marquee series win for their resume. They have nothing going for them. They lost that series to Southern Miss on the road. You can say they played really well on the road, but you can't say they won a series. Then they lost 2 more series. Like, that's not good. That's not going to help them.
They do have a chance to save themselves over the next
with Oregon.
Next 8 games. They have Oregon at USC midweek, at Cal Poly, and then USC midweek again, and then at UC San Diego, who actually has a 49 RPI, and then at UCLA, at UC Irvine. Like,
that's what I tweeted yesterday.
Not going to go down that much. They're playing over their next 15 games. Their highest RPI game is UC Irvine at 158. But I assume UC Irvine's going to drop a little bit from that 158 spot. But who knows? They're struggling bad.
They'll probably finish in the 100. They'll probably finish in the 80s, probably maybe a little higher. So it's you see Santa Barbara's whole entire season rise on these next 2 weeks.
Yep.
2-3 weeks. So
maybe they'll be playing their best baseball by then. But yeah, I think the real story is Cal Poly, 14-7 on the year. They opened the season winning that series at Campbell, and then they got swept. They lost the last 2. They split with Washington State, and then they got swept by USC. And it was like a 6-game losing streak. Since then, they've won 10 straight. First place in the Big West, 6-0. And they're probably, up until that Santa Barbara series, the April 2nd through the 4th, they're going to win another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 5 games before then. And they're going to be heavy favorites in all of them. So it could be a 15-game winning streak going into Santa Barbara, which would be nice.
So Yeah, I think I think it's too early for us to really make put the hammer down on what's going to happen in the Big West. So it's a little early for that. But
I
hey,
do want to say about the Big West, like I am proud of UC Davis, Fullerton, Northridge, UC San Diego, Hawaii, even Bakersfield. Like these teams have gotten better over the last few years. Like I don't
yeah,
think they're Omaha caliber teams. Maybe they are. Maybe this league is just nasty.
yeah.
But like every game is competitive and close. Like this is a very, very competitive conference, top to bottom.
Hey, so let's segue this into what did you just say? Cal Poly won 10 straight after who swept them?
USC.
All right, so let's talk about the Big Ten. USC 24-1. People talk about how they have played nobody. You can argue that. They also have one loss to Northwestern in a snow game where else they could be
A
undefeated
snow
still.
doubleheader. A snow doubleheader. Coming
Yep.
from Southern
And
California.
so and
And that
that
was a
same
2-1 game. It was a 2-1 game that Northwestern walked them off in.
Yeah, and guess what? That same Northwestern team beat Oregon today in a shootout. They had a 10-2 lead, blew it, and then they won an extra. So USC 24-1, ERA under 2, 1.8, something like that. You got to give them credit. Winning 24 out of 25 baseball games against anybody is impressive.
Yeah. Dude, it really is. They have a fun one on Tuesday night. They're hosting Oregon State. I imagine that's going to be a sold out crowd, like
Oh, that should be
hands down. The baseball hype in Los Angeles right now is going crazy because UCLA #1 team in the country, 21-2, and then you have USC 24-1. We get to see that series April 3rd through the 5th at UCLA. Cannot wait for that. That's going to be
it's going to be the first time those two teams match up in a weekend series as both ranked in the top 25 since like 2015.
yeah. I want to emphasize that. I think I emphasized this recently on one of our podcasts, but my God, like UCLA still is not getting the hype that they deserve. If UCLA had an SEC logo on their shirt, we would be talking about like this being one of the greatest teams in our generation. They're 21-2. They have a one-run loss against UC San Diego and a one-run loss midweek against San Diego State. Other than that, like they have, let's just go. They swept TCU. They swept through that Amagi Bank College Classic with Tennessee, Texas A&M, Mississippi State. Swept Ohio State, beat Irvine, crushed them in the midweek. Swept Michigan, swept Maryland. Like they are dominating teams. Like I bet they probably have one of the higher run differential in the country.
And you know what's even crazier? Gasparino's hot streak cooled off big time.
I know, but it doesn't matter. That lineup is so deep.
That's what I'm saying.
Every arm they run out there is nasty.
Duggar behind the plate, probably one of the better catchers in the country defensively.
Bazooka. The absolute
And then
bazooka behind
Kalowski hadn't been mashing like he was in the beginning of the season. I think he like went 2 for 12 on the weekend this weekend. Hasn't done a whole lot. And this team is still doing just fine. Levu in the middle of that lineup. There's so many guys that can hit in that lineup. I'm so excited for the USC UCLA series. I'm looking ahead, but I cannot wait for it. And I hope neither team slips up before it.
Yeah. I also want to give Nebraska a shout out. I know their 10-game winning streak got snapped by Michigan on Friday, but they come back and win the series pretty convincingly Saturday, Sunday at Michigan. So, yeah, Nebraska basketball is kind of the talk right now after they're going to the Sweet 16 for like the first time ever or something like that. But Nebraska baseball, 18-6 on the year, 9-0 at home. Like they're going to be. They're probably not going to be in the thick of winning the Big Ten, but if they can get the third best record in the Big Ten, that's almost a guaranteed regional at-large bid.
Yeah. So, would you agree with me if I said the Big Ten is going to be a super exciting battle for fourth place?
It could be third place, dude. Oregon, Nebraska, like could be battling it out for third place.
Possible, but you have to assume right now USC, UCLA, and Oregon are your top three, and then everyone is battling it out for fourth. Possible for third, but you know what the difference is between fourth and fifth? We talked about it in the Big Ten tournament. You have to win. If you get in fourth, you have to win 3 games to win the Big Ten tournament. If you get in fifth, you have to win 5 games to win the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big deal.
It is. It is a big deal.
So I think the top of the Big Ten is going to be really strong this year, stronger than in recent years. Nebraska looked great. That Auburn series, I'm telling you guys, that's how good Auburn is. Nebraska battled that weekend, and this is just a really good Auburn team. So, yeah, I think we're going to learn a lot about USC in the next couple of weeks. It'll tell us everything. But I think the top of the Big Ten is going to be the best it's been in a while. Shout out to the Pac-12.
I mean, it's going to be the best it's ever been. The top of the Big Ten this year with USC.
That's why I said shout out Pac-12.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the Sun Belt. So Coastal Carolina 6-0 in the Sun Belt. They lost another guy today to injury, broke his hand. Another banged up Chanticleer, but I've been impressed with Coastal. They swept James Madison this weekend. They swept App State the first weekend of conference play, coming off of that ECU series win. I don't think Coastal can win a national championship right now, but in April and May, when they get pretty much everybody back from injury, if they're winning games with their B team out there, just wait until they get their A team. They're really good. But I think the biggest series, I know the biggest series from the Sun Belt this weekend was Southern Miss against Troy. Troy wins on Friday, and then Southern Miss comes back, wins the series. Pete Taylor Magic. Hard to beat these guys twice in Hattiesburg. Today's game was fun. Like, Troy jumped out to a 4-0 lead, and then you just saw Southern Miss just like the game couldn't be short enough for
just
Troy.
Chiseled away at the lead all game long.
Yeah, like they didn't score again. Troy didn't score after the third inning, and you could just feel watching that game because I had split screen Mercer versus Citadel on one screen, Troy versus Southern Miss on the other, and like Troy just was like the game wasn't short enough for him, if that makes sense. Like every inning, Southern Miss was getting base runners on. It was hard to get outs for Troy. Troy actually had an ejection out of the dugout in like this 5th or 6th inning because they were arguing balls and strikes. But either way, like Southern Miss still the number 1 team in our mid-major top 25. Like this was a series that they could have easily slipped up after losing Friday. But nope, they came back and won the series. So still the most complete mid-major team in the country, in my opinion.
Speaking of Sun Belt, how about them Texas State Bobcats? Slam Marcos.
Just absolutely putting on a home run derby. They do this. What they did this weekend, hitting like, I don't know, 11 homers this weekend. They do this like 1 week every single year, Dimitri. You know that, right? Like every year, there's 1 weekend where in Slam Marcus, they put on an absolute show, and that's what they did to the Raging Cajuns.
They ran those Cajuns, their asses out of Texas. They ran them out of the building. Like, it wasn't even close all weekend.
Well, Friday was somewhat close, but I actually watched that game on Wheels. But yeah, Saturday and Sunday, no matter who Lafayette threw out there, it didn't matter. It was unfortunate that the Raging Cajuns got the weekend, the Texas State masher weekend that they always do. But yeah, nobody was beating this team this weekend. Texas State jumps back in the mid-major top 25, deservingly so. And that was after they got swept last weekend at ULM.
That is the epitome. That is. You cannot explain college baseball better than that. You get swept by Louisiana Monroe, then turn around the next weekend and sweep Louisiana. Monroe is significantly worse than the Cajun, and you just rise up to the occasion or you play down to your competition. That is the story of college baseball, and I think that is another lost art of why head coaches matter. They get these boys ready no matter who the opponent is, and I think Kevin Schnall does a great job of that. I think Dan Hefner has been doing a great job. A lot of these coaches do a really good job of keeping these guys up no matter who your opponent is.
Yeah. No,
hey, I was just going to add on to that real quick. Arkansas State, They're doing a really good job. Silva is building something over there, but that's part of growing up as a head coach and as a team. When you're not used to a lot of success, they came off a big weekend series against Southern Miss at home, won it. They go on the road and lose to a kind of lousy Georgia State team, and you have to. That's just part of. If you want to be one of the best teams in the country, you have to week in and week out show up.
Yeah, look, I think. Well, I wouldn't say Arkansas State going to the bus lot and playing. That's a lot of travel, and that's also not the coolest environment to play in. Like
That's part
Georgia
of it. You got to show up and win.
I know, but Georgia State does this every year too. Like they'll take. Did Georgia State win a series last year against
No,
Southern
they got
Miss or
swept
somebody?
last weekend by Marshall.
No, last year. I feel like there's always a top 25 caliber team that goes into the bus lot and loses a weekend series. Maybe it was
Didn't
2 years
Coastal?
ago.
They beat Coastal at the bus lot. I think it was
Now I
maybe it
gotta
was 2
look this
years
up.
ago.
It might have been 2 years ago, but it's such a tough. As Dimitri, you played there, I played there. It is zero environment. It is.
You're playing at a high school baseball field or something.
It's a high school baseball field with chain link fences and like a row of like 5 bleachers behind home plate. I don't even know if they have bathrooms there, dude. Like it's so like that happens sometimes. Maybe I mean it's just not. It's the ultimate trap spot for Arkansas State. Big weekend, winning it against Southern Miss, and then going and traveling to what is it, Decatur, Georgia? Is that where Georgia State plays? Decatur or Duluth or one of those?
Decatur. Yeah.
Decatur.
About 30 minutes east of downtown Atlanta, inside the perimeter.
So I mean, it's just the ultimate trap spot. But I think the Sun Belt has a ton of parity in it. You can't take any weekends off. Who's in last place in the Sun Belt right now? Georgia Southern. I think they're 1-5. There's just not an easy team in that conference. Anybody can beat anybody.
I agree. So
shout out to Marshall though, 5-1. Marshall 5-1 in the Sun Belt, second place.
Yeah, they. I think they lost a shootout today to Georgia Southern. It could be 6-0.
Yep, they. I'll tell you what, they put on a really good ESPN Plus broadcast. Marshall home games, they do a good job. Good cameras. I catch myself watching some Marshall baseball here and there. All right, you want to do American?
Sure.
Oh, do you want me to do the American?
Oh, I mean, what do you want me to say? That South Florida Rice series was great. South Florida ended up being the better team, but I think there's a lot to like about David Pierce and the Rice Owls. They play better baseball, more fundamentally sound. They have a little more talent in that cupboard. I think there's a lot to like about Rice going forward. But hey, South Florida, they have that Rose Series win at UCF, which is looking more impressive by the week. UTSA bounced back this weekend and took care of business. East Carolina beat a good UAB team at home. They got blown out today in the finale, but series win is a series win. So there's a lot to like in the AAC too.
Yeah, it's funny looking at the conference standings. 5 teams went 2-1. 5 teams went 1-2. Nobody swept or got swept.
That's a good weekend for the conference.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about this conference? Who would you take today to win it? South Florida, right?
Today, eyeball test, South Florida. Brain/heart test, UTSA.
I agree with that, I think.
I still think UTSA has like way more in the chamber. UTSA was struggling there for a little bit. Like they went through a stretch of 6 games where they went 2-4. They lose at Texas Tech midweek, then lose 2 out of 3 against UT Arlington last weekend, and then lose Saturday to FAU. Then they lost to Houston Christian in the midweek. So 2-4 in that 6-game stretch. and they get to host East Carolina next weekend. This coming up
That's a
weekend,
big
guaranteed
weekend.
weekend series pick 'em. Man, that's gonna be fun. That's the biggest home series that UTSA probably is.
Dallas Baptist.
I feel like ECU is a little bigger though. It's in conference.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Dude, UTSA kind of is set up, in my opinion. They have East Carolina at home, South Florida at home, Charlotte at home, Wichita State at home, UAB at home, and then they go to Memphis, Tulane, and Rice. That's pretty favorable for UTSA.
I agree. I think it's doable. I think South Florida, UTSA, but hey, East Carolina will be there at the end, like they always are.
Yeah, they're fine.
Hey, what if Godwin's name starts getting leaked out as the potential South Carolina head coach? It could be a little distraction in that Greenville clubhouse.
I just don't think he's ever going. I think he's staying at ECU for life.
Dude, I don't know. He hates the idea of the portal. He hates NIL. He hates all of it. If he wants to embrace it, this is the time to do it and go try something with your career. You know what I mean?
He's been at East Carolina so long. He's been very successful, low stress.
Okay,
I mean, I'm sure
O'Connor
it's
had everything
national, so we take that
Brian
back.
O'Connor had everything he needed there, and he took on a new job. So never say never. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Never say never.
Yeah, that's a good point. We haven't even talked about probably our biggest riser or like the mid-major team that we're, I think, collectively high on, and that's Missouri State. We'll move to the Conference USA here because I do want to bring up Missouri State. You sent a text, Dimitri, that was like, "Hey, dude, outside of that Ole Miss sweep where they got swept at Ole Miss, games were close. By the way, like it wasn't a beatdown at Ole Miss. They could have won a couple of those games, but other than that series, like a series win against the Raging Cajuns, sweep of Little Rock, sweep of Memphis, 2 out of 3 against Liberty, sweep of Middle Tennessee State. They also have." I thought they beat Oklahoma State in the midweek. They actually lost by 1. But yeah, Missouri State, 13th strongest strength of schedule, 9 RPI, 15-7 on the year. They have a superstar in Caden Bogenpole patrolling center field. How much are you buying Missouri State right now?
I think I'm buying a lot into them. They played a lot on the road. They've done damage on the road and at home. When you've lost 2 games on the weekend outside of that Ole Miss series, and they're not just slouches, they're good teams on the road at home. You got to give them credit where credit's due, and I think I'm buying stock in Missouri State. I'm buying a lot of it.
Yeah. I will say their next 5 games, though. Home against Oklahoma State, at Dallas Baptist for 3, home against Arkansas.
There
If
it
they
is.
go 3-2 in that stretch,
there's a shot that we're gonna see a what's the name of that city?
Springfield.
What are they?
Springfield.
What's fair? Yeah, Springfield, Missouri.
Hammond's Field.
Springfield, Missouri. Hey, you remember the last time they were the regional there?
Yeah, I think I was definitely playing, maybe like 2016 or 15.
2016, I think it was.
Yeah.
Was it
Jake
good.
Berger? Was it Jake Berger there? Yeah.
So yeah, I think Missouri State is a fantastic team to keep an eye on in the Conference USA. Jacksonville State, Liberty, Dallas Baptist, Louisiana Tech will all be right there. So it's a fun conference to keep up with.
You know what's funny is this conference like has an outside shot because of what they did in the non-conference and in midweeks to be a 4-bid league.
Stop. Conference USA will never be more than 3.
I think it could be a 4.
No, dude, no. Last year, Western Kentucky was unbelievable, and it was only a 2-bid league.
It's different, though. Teams got better. Liberty got better. Louisiana Tech got better. Jacksonville State got way better.
Is Louisiana Tech actually better, though? Because they're looking pretty bad lately.
No, they're fine.
They've lost 2 straight series.
Oh, they did lose this series. I didn't realize they lost the series this weekend to New Mexico State.
Yeah, they're bad.
Oh, they swept Delaware, and they beat South Alabama 2 out of 3.
Yeah, but there's not a lot to be optimistic about right now. They started off hot, so maybe they just going through a little stretch. We all know that happens. But dude, you come on, Ben. I've been telling you this for 8 years now. You have to be near perfect as a mid-major if you're not in the Sun Belt. And even in the Sun Belt, it's difficult.
Yeah, that's a
Like
good point.
it's a two-bid league at max. So yeah, it's a lot to like there. And then, hey, you don't want to talk about your Mercer Bears? Biggest series of the year coming up.
I know. They lost today. They could not hit with runners in scoring position, but they did win the series against Citadel. Mercer has not lost Friday or Saturday all year.
That's impressive. Friday nights are the hardest game.
Yeah. I do like their lineup. I watch a lot of Mercer baseball. I do like their lineup a lot. The bullpen scares me. Do I think they're going to win any games on the road this weekend at Oregon State? No, because their best shot would be Friday, and they're not beating Dax Whitney. Maybe Mercer throws off this week. Dude, if I'm Mercer, I kind of punt Friday's game, and I throw off this weekend.
Because you know what? When it comes to a postseason resume, if you get one at Oregon State, that could be the one game that your RPI goes from I don't know, high 30s to a mid 30s, and you get off that bubble
Yeah.
or something like that. Just something crazy. It always comes down to it. They really need to get one at Oregon State.
I just don't think, and I keep, here's the Mercer moment.
But you know
I
what?
no,
You know
wait,
what pisses
Dimitri, let me take this away real fast.
Go ahead.
The Mercer's off to the best start they've ever been. They're 20-4. They were 20-3 going into today.
It's a fraudulent start, though.
No, dude, it's not fraudulent. Like
Dude, they have a 200 strength of schedule.
Troy, Columbia, Penn, Tennessee Tech, Citadel, like those aren't slouch teams.
We'll see in a couple
No,
weeks.
but so the reason why I don't want to get ahead of myself is because I keep going to the predicted RPI for on WarrenNolan.com. Predicted RPI. And it's like Texas, Auburn, Florida State, UCLA, USC, Virginia, North Carolina, Oregon State, Mississippi State, West Virginia, Coastal, Arkansas, Oregon, Southern Miss, Alabama, Kentucky. Like that's the top 16. And then I'm like, hey, the committee is going to rank the top 32 this year. And Mercer shows up at 29. Mercer being a 2 seed at 44-12 this year. And that's predicting them going 0-5 in quad one games. So getting swept against Oregon State. If Mercer finishes the year as a 2 seed, I might get a Mercer tattoo.
You know, I'll tell you what pisses me off about this weekend for Mercer. In my 4 years, we never once got on an airplane.
Nope, never went on an airplane either.
I never in my college career got to go on an airplane. Never in my college career got to go. I mean, Duty Noble Field was probably the coolest place that we got to go to, so I can't say too much about it because we did play a weekend there. But we never got to go west of Starkville, Mississippi.
Dimitri, listen to this story, and the listeners are going to love this. 2016, we have the Golden Spikes winner, Kyle Lewis, on our team and have a ton of momentum. Like, we're playing well. And we're promised before the year, hey, we're going to fly up to Indianapolis, and we're playing a weekend series against Butler. And we're pumped. And, like, first time Mercer's been on a plane in 10 years or something like that. And we find out 2 weeks before that I don't know if we canceled the flights or Butler canceled. I don't know who canceled. We had to bus like 18 hours. It took like 18 hours in a bus through like the mountains of Tennessee and Kentucky to get to Butler. And I think we didn't sweep that series. I think we won 2 out of 3. But then we had to bus back 18 hours after our assistant coach got bit by a dog. So he was like bleeding the whole trip. But yeah, like Mercer will, in my brain, Mercer just never rides on airplanes, and they're finally, hopefully, flying to Oregon State. I don't know if that's confirmed.
No, they've flown multiple times since I've been out of college. Multiple
That's right.
times.
Oregon or Oklahoma State, Baylor, and somewhere else too, right?
Hey, you want me to add to your story? Spring break 2014. we were supposed to. So in the fall, we were supposed to have a big time series for spring break, and we were going to go somewhere, fly somewhere. Schedule comes out. We're playing at Indiana State for spring break. Indiana State and South Dakota State with our little round robin. We get on the bus. We drive all the way up there, 14 hours. We get off the bus. It's snowing, and we face Sean Mania. Game 1. 95-mile-an-hour cutters in on the hand in 30-degree weather for spring break. So you know what we did? We wore tropical bathing suits and tropical Hawaiian shirts and everything. We got bitched out for it, saying this is a business trip, this is a spring break. And we're like, you're the one that's taking us to Terre Haute, Indiana for spring break. Like, what the hell are you doing here? Like,
You guys
this is your fault. Don't get mad at us.
How far of a bus ride was that?
It was awful. It was fun, and then it turned awful. Left fielder tore his ACL. First game up there. The whole weekend was hell. We went 3-1 on the weekend, but it was brutal. It was miserable.
Yeah. No, it's just. Anyways, so going back to Mercer here, and this will be like the last thing we talk about because I know we've been going long, but I'll tell you this. Hosting is not out of consideration in my brain.
They're not hosting. Stop it.
What if Mercer goes up there and just sweeps Oregon State?
If they do that, then we can talk about it.
If they go, I don't. They won't. But if they did, like predicted RPI getting swept at Oregon State puts them at 29. They sweep that series and run the table in the SoCon. Maybe not run the table, but win every series and sweep a few of them. I think hosting's on the picture, like in the picture. And if Mercer hosts a regional, oh my God, I will be. You guys will not want to be friends with me. I might forget my son's name.
That's fine. But hey, what do you want to do? You want to look real quick into the midweeks?
Yeah, let's do it. I know the midweek slate is fun. Midweek slate is really fun this week. Oregon State at USC. I know we talked about earlier, but I know Florida and Florida State are playing because that was in every one of our Twitter mentions. Was like, of course, Florida gets swept this weekend. They're going to play like the 1918 Yankees against us on the midweek. Florida State fans were not happy about Florida getting swept because they know that.
I know. their Super Bowl or whatever they call it.
Are you sharing your screen? You want me to share mine? I got it pulled up.
I'll share mine. That's fine.
Coastal Carolina at Clemson. West Virginia at Marshall. Campbell goes to NC State. How about this? South Carolina, North Carolina at Truist Field in Charlotte. Maybe there's something in that South Carolina vibe that they have now. Southern Miss at Mississippi State. Sheesh, that's going to be a good one. Auburn at South Alabama will be a good one too. They're playing that at the minor league park in Montgomery. Neutral site.
Hey, Ohio State 3 games away from matching their win total from last year.
Well, hopefully they get there. I think they're a better team than last year, but
Coastal Clemson's gonna be fun.
Yep.
Clemson need to turn around big time right there.
We get a big game. Our Lady of the Lake is going to Prairie View to play a midweek. That is a non-D1 Our Lady of the Lake.
Hey, speaking of Florida Gulf Coast, South Florida, Gulf Coast laid a goose egg this weekend. They had the lead all 3 games going into the bottom of the 7th inning and got swept by North Florida.
Yeah, the Florida Gulf Coast had all of the late game magic the first 18 games of the year, and they blew it this weekend.
They had the lead all 3 games in the 7th inning.
Hey, you want to know a good midweek that won't get talked about enough, but Cincinnati at Xavier. Those two teams hate each other. Dude, those two schools hate each other. Both in Cincinnati.
Oh, really?
Oh, the fan bases despise each other.
Well, Xavier is not very good this year, so they played the gauntlet. They played a gauntlet of a schedule, though.
Yeah, they lost 2 out of 3 to Wofford this weekend.
Hey, what are your thoughts on Houston maybe upsetting Texas.
Nah, Texas isn't losing back-to-back midweeks.
That's a fair point. We need a Missouri State win over Oklahoma State to make us look smart.
Oh, we never make ourselves look smart. Murray State at Kentucky will be a good one.
Murray State?
Yeah, Murray State. Austin P, Alabama.
Yeah. Well, I'm done sharing. We just went through them all.
TCU, Dallas Baptist, Omaha, Creighton, Nebraska, Kansas State is a good one.
Oh, that's a great one. Is that on Wednesday?
No, Tuesday.
How did I miss that one?
At Kansas State. Low key, here's another. These two teams don't like each other very much, but Southeastern Louisiana versus Louisiana Lafayette. That'll be, wow. UTRGV at Texas State. Dude, this is a really good midweek. Hopefully the weather holds up. I don't know what the weather's supposed to be like, but hopefully it's somewhat decent.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No, that's all I got.
All right, we will we'll see you guys
Wednesday night.
Yeah. And
Jack and Noah will be back. They both promised us.
Yeah, I think things will be looking bright and pretty again after March Madness ends, and Noah will be back Wednesday. The whole crew should be back more consistently after that. I hope. I think.
Yeah, if not, whatever. Just kidding. I miss those guys. All right, well, we appreciate everybody for listening. Tune in to us Wednesday night, Thursday for the weekend series Pick'em show. That's all I got. Sorry.
Yep. Thanks for